Well, I'll tell you what. I've had worse weeks and worse weekends. It's nice to. It'd be nice to string them all together. Last year we had a giant run for quite a while and we got spoiled. And this year it's been spotty throughout the spring. We didn't, in particular, Oak Grove. We certainly didn't have the right horses in the right place there. Had some horses that got injured. Had some horses that weren't getting in. Everything wasn't meshing together all the time, and it never can, right? Having the horses, trying to keep them good all the time is very odd, right? And I use a lot of, obviously, sports analogies when I'm talking about our burn and how horse racing is. And it's, I guess, much like managing a team, right? You have these great players that you put on the field. I watch baseball a lot. And any team sport, though, it's when you put all these great players on the field and just magic doesn't happen all the time. It's frustrating, I'm sure. And I feel the same way. I feel that we have horses that have put in, Greatest Endings, perfect example. We paid a lot of money for this horse, expecting him to be a Grand Circuit horse. It didn't work out. He made a couple of drops here and there last year when Mark had him and Melissa had him in Saratoga, Plain Ridge area. Dealt with some issues. Just seems like it's always one step forward, two steps back with this guy. And I know it will come together if we keep, working and putting the horse in the right place and doing our best to keep him good. But it just feels like you're just pushing a rock up a hill sometimes, and it's hard to deal with. But then, when they do wheel off 2 or 3 good races, perfect example, Gypsy Hill, right? This is a horse, the way he started his 3-year-old season in the qualifiers, I was very concerned that it was going to be a chore just to get this horse back to even a reasonable form of what he was last year. We're going through that right now with insider trading, right? But the good news, I guess, for insider trading and my partners in particular with her is when you look at Gypsy Hill and see where he came from and where he is now, there's always hope, right? There's always hope that everybody's going to play good today, that the team's going to go on a run, and that's where we're at all the time with the horses. So an absolutely fantastic week this week. A great day yesterday. We'll go through the whole thing because it wasn't perfect. There were some valleys, but man, the peaks were pretty cool. Now, I started my day, and that is good. I started my day training a couple of horses at Mohawk. As you know, Amy she's back now with Oliver. Came back right after practice on Saturday. We went out to eat Saturday night. But as they were gone away, the girls and I were kind of on the loose. Addie had run a perfect week at school, had 5 purples, and was in the driver's seat. And although we couldn't go to the jump place, she negotiated a fair trade. We were to stay at a hotel on Friday night with a pool and a hot tub, and we did. So Addie was happy. Woke up Saturday morning. We just stayed down the street. And for those of you coming, I'm going to send this out again. I'm going to put it on my weekly videos. For those of you coming, everybody asks for a nice place to stay. You're not going to beat the Hilton Garden Inn, which is very close to the track. Now, we live in Macedonia. I'm about 7 minutes of track. It might be 3-4 minutes straight down towards the highway. And that's Twinsburg, where there's a very decent restaurants there. Good Mexican, kind of a nice, I want to say steakhouse, but it's like an old, it's got that country club feel to it. The Blue Canyon is down here. There's a sushi place there, and then if you just hop on the highway literally for 10 seconds, the first exit down the road, there's a Dairy Queen and Brewster's, a couple other places there. It's a good area to stay. So if you're coming in for the open house, check out maybe going to the Hilton Garden Inn. I had points left over from last year, so it actually worked out really well for me. But if a lot of people wanted to come in and that's your speed, right? There's some people that just want to stay at the La Quinta or the Motel 6 or whatever. Hey, whatever. If that's your speed, fine. If you're looking for something a little more upscale, I can tell you right now that the Hilton Garden Inn, that is actually a really nice hotel. So Addie got her way, which is fair. We stayed overnight at the hotel. Got up Saturday morning, went to the barn. I only had 2 things to do. I wanted to train Jayport Beach Boy, and I wanted to train Ready for Landing. Now, my expectations were a little tempered. Is Ready for Landing going to get around a half? Probably not. Is J-Port Beach Boy going to wow me? Probably not. But both of them actually trained not bad. J-Port Beach Boy a little flatter than I'd like, but that's kind of him in a nutshell. And they said he'd run down a little bit. We're going to change his shoes this week, and I do, now that I say it, I'm going to put that in my email to myself. Yeah, you heard that right. I want to make sure that we have some shoeing changes this week for the babies. So I'm going to reach out to myself. I leave myself notes on my email so I can read what we're doing and what we're trying to get to as we go along. Enos. Shoeing changes. Anyway, J-Port Beach Boy was exceptionally good. I was really, really impressed with him. No, that's a lie. I meant Ready for Landing. I was really impressed with Ready for Landing. J-Port Beach Boy trained okay. I actually was a little impressed with him. He went a decent mile by himself. We're going to make some shoeing changes to him and then move forward. Ready for Landing trained very, very good. I was super surprised with how well he got around Northfield Park. Not that we'd race him here, but really impressed with how he got around Northfield. But his poise, he's really matured as a racehorse and starting to understand his work. So I'm really excited about Wednesday. I think, who do we have? We have our Girl Lovers Play. We have Ready for Landing, and we have one other horse on Wednesday. All three horses I can't wait to race. So it should be a lot of fun. So in reference to yesterday, and more particularly, we had 10 horses on the go. Widespread Panic, I get over there, so I'm done at the barn. I'm really happy. I drive over there with the girls and race Widespread Panic. Now, bit of a tricky horse. He'll be trotting along nice, 2 fingers, and then he'll just get a switch will flip, and he's gone. And literally, He-Man couldn't slow him down. So I mean, I'm trying to get inside his head and just let him relax. I was a little bit off the gate. I didn't want to get away last. I saw everybody just kind of jostling in slow motion, so I loop them up around them, and I'm thinking, worst case, I make my way to the front, don't care. If I find my way into the 4-hole, perfect. But last week I tried to back him into a hole. That's when he gets a little angry. Now, as I say that out loud, it might be the issue that he might, when you grab him, he might shut his air just a bit, and when the horses do that, then they obviously panic, right? And then they take off. So that might be it. I was able to drive him into the hole and just let him settle, and he was perfect. Moved him down the backstretch. He was all business. An easy kind of winner in 57. This horse is exceeding my expectations this year. I was hoping he'd be a good horse, but for a horse to come out, go first over in their second start of the year, virtually almost their second start lifetime, because there wasn't anything he learned last year. He sat last and made a couple of breaks. So, you know, very, very inexperienced horse, but for him to come first over and run that horse down and drive away from them, I love when the horses do that. A winner in 157, and he looked awesome. So I'm pumped as we're coming off the track. Now I'm looking at the rest of the day. Middle of the order's kind of ho-hum. But we got Arson at 15-1 morning line. They must have made a mistake, because truthfully speaking, this would be the softest stake field that he has faced in quite a while. Now, I guess that's not fair. He raced in the C division in Kentucky, so maybe that's not fair for me to say. They're still tough horses. But man, he raced in the All-Stars. He raced in the first Sire stake. This horse no joke. And for him to put 15-1, hang up 15-1, can leave like a thoroughbred. Doesn't matter if he'd 6, 7, or 8. He's going to be over 1, 2, 3 as soon as they say go. And that's exactly what Mark did. Made front. I saw like 27-1 pop up, and I'm like, ooh. And then I could see him backing him up. The favorite's in behind him, so I'm thinking, we shouldn't be any worse than second or third. Half pops up like 56-4. He walked them again down the backstretch. Middle half and 58 apiece. And that's right up at Arson's alley. It's going to take a good horse to run him down off those fractions. Mark called on him at the head of the lane. He said he just screamed right down the lane. He was all business. But that's how he likes to race, right? And that's the importance of maybe facing it's not that he faced cheaper horses, because those are decent horses. Horse behind him raced very good last week, but they're not sire stake horses, right? That's why they're in there for the most part. So you can, you know, if you're going to leave him alone, you're not going to outsprint an Arson off a middle half and 58 in that division. It's just not going to happen. So I was so happy when he called on him at that lane. He paced away from them. He just looked so professional. You know, first and last quarter in 27-1 in the mud, and it was muddy. a mile and 52 flat, a great mile from Arson. So we're on cloud 9, right? It's now 1:25 maybe in the afternoon. We don't have another race for 3 hours, and as you can see in a couple of my videos, I was walking on cloud 9. I was pretty optimistic. I'm looking at the rest of the day saying, time is on my side. Geez, I hope this horse race is good. And I'm like, oh, did not know. Winter bells. Serious Dragon in a very tough class in his first start back. Renegade Gypsy hasn't been as sharp as Attack. And then we got finish off the night with I'm Fancy Like, who should be one of the favorites. Pickpocket, got a race against Carl, but super excited to see how he races. And JK Victory, going to be one of the favorites from the outside. Again, from the outside. So I'm like, we should start the day good, finish the day good, and hope like hell for something to happen good in the middle. So, time is on my side, goes out. Now, he gets good fractions. He gets everything his own way. But as I said to Mark, I said, all those horses are killers until another killer wheels up in the rearview mirror. And then their experience, their grit, their determination, and their training kicks in, right? And he did what he could. He got a little bit tired, and some fresh legs pounced on him. Real good horse, first over, that won the Breeders' Crown last year. The horse that finished second was a $200,000 yearling that was flying on the end of it last week. I heard Armada Hanover. I'm like, ooh, there goes second. If he finishes like he did last week, and he did, and then just picked off at the wire for third. An adequate race. I would have liked to see 27 and a piece in a hard-fought battle, win or lose on the end of it. Looked like he got a little soft. But as I said to Mark afterwards, I said, well, we'll get him scoped, which we found nothing. Everything was working fine. There was no blood, no mucus, no nothing. I said, but first and foremost, he's not really a great front-end horse. Like when I won on the front end here with him, it was against an extremely watered-down group of horses. And then I put him on the front, and he got beat by Rush On or Rush In, who raced like a monster yesterday again. Won by 4 lengths and 50 and 2, which what appeared to be the earplugs in the mud. Better, but even last week when he made that break, screaming on the end of it, he's more of a hunter, right? And we still got the mushroom bars on him up front, and in my head I'm like, yeah, it was a great shoeing change, it worked great, but does he still need it? Especially on a track like the Poconos. I know Mark had asked for the shoeing change. I was a little hesitant. Tim and I talked about it for a while, and ultimately Tim said, well, either way, the horse raced good. I said he did. Now we're going to Philadelphia. What's that track like right now? It can get hard. It can get really deep. They're all going fast miles over there, so I'm going to guess it's hard. If it's... excuse me. If it's hard, probably just going to leave those mushroom shoes on him. If it's deep, we might just go to a full swedge or even aluminum on him for a start and see how he goes. It's a long season. As I said to Mark, there's no disrespect. You get beat by 3 good horses. 2 world-class horses, as it appears. And make no mistake, that division is probably one of the toughest divisions in the world right now. Right? And that's not taking anything away from New York, New Jersey, Ohio, or anywhere. But that division right there in Pennsylvania is amongst the best in the world right now. And time is on my side. There's 3 or 4 divisions. Like he was the 12th best horse yesterday? 13th, something like that. Time-wise. And truthfully speaking, accurately, because the other divisions all went really good. Having said that, he's in the mix. Covered up in the 2-hole, 3-hole, second over, I think he's in the mix. On the front, not quite as spectacular, but still, no complaints. Horse is 4th and 51 in the mud. Whacked it all out. Quarter poled to the front. He drove him hard, and the horse raced as good as he could. Now, I think you'll probably see Mark change his tactics up. You don't have to ask Mark. Mark's a smart enough guy. He knows the horse. And as soon as I said he scoped clean, it was got to change the tactics. I can hear the wheels in his head going. And geez, it'd be nice if we could just try him without those mushroom bars on. And we may very well do that, depending on the reports we get out of Philadelphia, whether the track is hard or loose. If it's loose, definitely going to change. If it's hard, I'm less apt to. Then we get into the lesser side of things. Did not know that I think the recall really screwed her over. I'm almost certain I shut her air off, as they called that recall. And I feel bad for the starter. He got screamed at last night. And I only said to him, they put the recall lights on just as they said go. First off, you don't call a recall there. It's a no-no. Secondly, you say recall and then put the lights on. He didn't say anything. He just slowed down and put the lights on, and everybody's up on top of the gate, and I'm wrestling with did not know. And they shut her air off? Probably. Very green filly. If somebody wanted to take their time, work on her knees, it's still 80 pounds overweight. work on her knees, and race her throughout the summer, she probably could be a decent filly. She felt like she has some speed in there. I just don't know her well enough to know. I know she's not a stake horse, but as far as being an overnight horse is concerned, there could be a horse in there, and she's not the only one. The next horse, Winter Bells, like that's a filly that's supposed to win the Non-Winners 2, right? Be competitive. You can race her in the Prospect. You can race her around. She's going to be a useful horse in Ontario, but she's not a stable horse. I know everybody, every so often I'll get a text, can we send her to this guy, or can this guy drive her? We're not going to bend for the sake of a cowardly filly that doesn't want to be what she is built to be. She has the ability and the speed to be a really good horse. She just does not have the grit to do it. And that is an absolute 100% certainty coming from me. I've sat behind her enough times. I've seen her train enough times. I've been in with her. I've been around her. I know what she is. She's a fast filly that could be way better than she'll ever be because she just doesn't want to be. She's not a pig. She's not a horrible animal, but she's just a huge underachiever. Grossly underachieves almost every time she goes on the track. And that's just that. There are horses that, and we talked about them. I made fun of White Tiger forever about being an underachiever. But he was fast. So even at 90%, he was still a super, productive animal. But just never would put out that 105%. Just wouldn't do it. But when you're just a pretty good horse and you don't put out that 105%, now you're just a mediocre animal. And that is where Winter Bells fits in. Did not know. I don't have enough information to go on with her. Pretty sure she did shut her air off. She did have some mucus, tiny bit of red stuff. But, not what the Schaefers are looking for, and I feel bad for them because we put a lot of time in on their behalf for Did Not Know, and just Dominic always did the right thing by the filly, as we always try to do. Her knees were bad, we worked on her. Her knees were bad, we worked on her. She just didn't come forward the way we wanted her to. If her knees stay sound, I think you'll probably see a useful, decent maiden Non-Winners 2 filly. But again, certainly not what anybody is looking for that associated with her right now. So those are those two horses. I guess I was really angry about the Breakburn Winter Bells, and Travis had messaged me after and apologized. I said, listen, that's what bad horses do. They find a way to break your heart. On the way out the door, just twist that knife just a little bit more, and that's kind of what she did, isn't it? And it bothers me because you're going to see this filly go out and win in like 55, 54 somewhere. She's going to run off on a maiden claimer. They go for no money. The maiden claimer and the Non-Winners 2 claimer goes for $5,300 in Ontario at Flamborough. I mean, how can I possibly make an argument to race that horse in there? I just can't. And to take her over here, and you've seen the J-Port Beach Boy show. Now, granted, he was entrapped. And we'll see how he races on Wednesday. But there's no cakewalks. It's not like we're going to bring them over here and they're just going to run off under wraps and be like, ha, they sell the horse. It doesn't work that way. Racing's tough everywhere. Next up was Serious Dragon, and he is a tough horse. Raced for quite a while with a line in his pasture, and we believe last year he was off, left hind quite a bit. Harry took his time, got him right, got him sound, got him good. Qualified him twice in 56, and then bang! First start in 6 months, 149. He had to follow that kind of speed. It seems unfair sometimes, doesn't it? Man, paces 51-1 and finishes last. The only good news is he drops way down. He had a win from before we bought him on his card, so he drops down, way down now into the Non-Winners of 4 or 5, whatever it is. And there's no gimmies there either. They're still going to go 51-50, but he's got a good mile under his belt now. And, when there's horses in front of you that are pacing the same speed as you and they're beginning to slow down, the horse comes to life a little bit. But when you're going as fast as you can and horses are pacing away from you, it doesn't take very long to shut the engines off, that's for sure. So Serious Dragon drops way down next week. Renegade Gypsy last night. He's just not as good in these. When it seems like when May starts to come into the summer, into the heat, he just flattens out. Somebody said, he's just way better at Miami Valley. He's way better in March and April. That's when he is. In October, November, December, January, February, March, April, that's when he's good. May, June, July, August, September, not so good. So, and that's my 2 cents on Renegade Gypsy. So I don't know whether there's a rest coming for him or what's coming. Or maybe we'll just keep racing him and trying to pick spots for him. But at the end of the day, Gypsy is what he is. He's an okay horse that's doing okay things, and he has his moments, he has his time, and it'll come again. But right now it just seems like he's a little bit flat. I'll tell you who isn't flat was I'm Fancy Like. She was awesome last night. Went out and did it. I was making fun of Billy Davis. I said, you got this filly beating 56? Obviously, we put her on Lasix last week. She bled. She raced great last night, and especially to run down Ronnie at the wire, I get to make fun of him a little bit. It was even sweeter. It was an even sweeter victory like that. Getting to run down Ronnie at the last minute with the filly. I thought I beat him, but you can't tell with that wire sometimes. So I was almost certain I beat him, and I almost had Ronnie roped in. I said, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll both go back to the winner's circle, and whoever loses will look like an idiot. That's what we'll do. And I almost had him talked into it, and then right away he said, parade the two. And I'm like, damn it. So I'm Fancy Like raced great. She got up and won right in the shadow of the wire, as they say, and looked good doing it. And next was Pickpocket and JK Victory. Now, I want to talk about Pickpocket for a minute, so I'm going to skip for a second, go to JK Victory. Outside, took him back, 26 in the end of it, a mile and 51. You got to get the guy in the action. Everybody knows that. I'm sure Trace does. For whatever reason, they didn't leave with him. Maybe he didn't feel as good leaving out of there. I'm not sure. But you got to get that guy out of there. And I'm not saying that as, you did a terrible job driving the horse. No, you're sitting behind the horse. You look left. He doesn't feel like he wants to steamroll out of there, so you didn't. Right? And that's the way it is. Now, why didn't he want to? I'm not sure. I'm not sure why he didn't. But I know that he does do his best racing near the front. In fact, I don't know if he's ever raced good for us from off the pace. So I suspect they'll let this guy rock next week. And hopefully he'll come to life. But you can't, getting away 7th or 8th when they come 26 on the end of it is going to almost secure you a 7th or 8th every time you race. So we got to get this guy up in the action. I believe, anyway. It's my 2 cents. Now, we're going to finish with Pickpocket, and a lot has gone on with Pickpocket, so I want to make sure I give you guys the entire timeline with him. So and this is important because you can draw comparisons to other horses in our barn that maybe not as fast or maybe not as good, but the comparisons are still there, and I'm not going to draw them. You can. You guys know what I'm talking about. So Pickpocket finished off his year with a break in the Breeders' Crown. Now, he was fantastic in Lexington all summer long. Clay track, nice and forgiving track. Then it poured rain in Hoosier. We brought him up there. Different horse. I warmed him up. He was god-awful. And then run. This horse, it just took his lifetime mark of 53. So he's on the top of his game and runs all over the track. Didn't just run in the first turn, run in the last turn. It was terrible. It wasn't lameness, but he was very uncomfortable. Turn him out. Bring him back. Everything looks great. He's jogging back good. He's big and shiny. You know, we start training him. Eric said, same thing. Gets on the left line in the straightaways. Looks a little off left hind. Always did. I just thought he dog-trotted a little bit. That was his gait. That was his gait when he was going slow, and then when he sped him up, he was fine. So you'll see horses do that when they're going at a medium speed. They'll be over on the shaft a little bit because it's what we call dog trotting. They know how they have to move for them not to interfere going that speed, right? And usually when you speed them up, you'll see them, if they're sound, you'll see them creep back over into the middle of the middle of the shafts, the middle of the bike, and then take off, right? And that happens all the time. You see it all the time. So I had started going with him a little bit, maybe the end of March, and he was good, but he was making breaks. He's on a half, right? I'm thinking, Stone Dust track, he's on a half. We had just sent Captain Incredible to Florida. I said, geez, should I send him to Florida? I don't think so. So we kept training him. Then we got him squared away where we had him shod right, and he felt good, and I thought he was getting really close to qualifying. I trained him in like 2-2, and we scoped him, and he's entrapped. Horse never makes a noise, ever. Never, ever, ever makes a noise. You would never know there was anything wrong with him. Send him over, get it fixed, bring him back, train him in 2-2 again, maybe 2 weeks later, and then I bring him over to the Meadows. He qualifies. Great. Wait, I think I schooled him in 57 first. Scope him, everything is good. Now he's trotting better. Still not perfect, but trotting better. Now Dr. Latessa has looked at him. I think Tim's vet has looked at him also. No real glaring issues found. Qualify him in 56-2. He didn't finish up the way he want. In fact, finished up very similar to how he has at the Meadowlands his last two. Kind of present, but not attacking on the end of the mile. Scope him, he bled a little bit. Jesus. I guess we'll put him on Lasix then. Now I'm talking. Now I'm talking to. Now I'm talking to. A number of messages just came through. Now I'm talking to the vets about how is he going to be? Is he going to be able to go to Kentucky off Lasix? Do you think so? As I absorb everything and look at everything going on, and then look at the scopes the last 3 weeks, I'm confident we'll be able to do that. Having said that, what the hell is going on with him? Get him down in the Meadowlands, race him his first start at the Meadows, just like his qualifier, just like his last 2 starts, kind of hanging out at the end of the mile. And again, these aren't bad horses. Get him down. Well, he's going to meet Carl, so it's he's going to have to get his act together. Went down to the Meadowlands, raced him his first start, looked really choppy, even for him, right? And he's got a bumpy gait, but that's, even for him, that was bumpy. Scope's clean. Now the horse has been shipped down to Megan's. Tim has the horse shipped down to Megan's. Our guys are there. Megan's there. I said, hey, Megan, will you do me a favor? Can you have your vet go over Pickpocket just to see what he thinks? They looked at a few little chiropractic things, and she did his knees. The one knee wasn't was a little darker in fluid than the other. They injected his knees. I said, oh, cool. Okay, so he's gonna be better. Then I didn't see the post parade last night. James messages me from Mohawk during the races and said, my God, that Pickpocket's a rude, ignorant horse in the post parade, isn't he? I said, not usually. What do you mean? So I stopped and we turned on the Meadowlands. I didn't realize the race was going right then. And they're about to go to the gate, and Scotty's walking him. I didn't see anything. And in the race, kind of got away good, sat good, got a great trip, and then flat on the end of it. Scope clean, but I noticed in the mile, the bike is just rocking. The hobbles are way too tight on this horse this week. So you have to ask the question, what changed from last week? Same bike. We sent our bike. Same bike, same hobbles, same horse. What changed? Well, I'll tell you what changed. The vet work changed. Meg did the vet work on the horse, had her vet go and do the vet work on the horse. I talked to Tim about it. Everything was the same. The problem was he's sounder. So clearly the vet work worked, and the horse is stretching out, and now the hobbles are kind of working against him. Now, as Scotty said last night, I talked to him after, he was a little rude in the post parade, firm in the mouth at the start and in the race. So obviously I believe he's probably feeling better because the scope was good. No lameness. He's definitely trotting better. So you'd have to believe he's sounder, he's feeling better, but now the hobbles are working against him. Now, obviously, if I went with the horse, I know the horse. I would have let the hobbles out as far as they go, or made sure we had a little more room. But you can't ask Scotty or Megan to do that, or Tim's guys to do that. It's unfair of them. So he went with the hobble that was a little tighter. So it's a pretty simple fix in that regard. From what it looked like to me on the TV, he can almost use 3 holes. That's the length of a double-ended snap. You can put that snap on the end of the hobbles and then put them together, and now you have your 3.5, 4 holes. Because he's in almost the longest hole. You'd have to move the bike in and lengthen the hobbles on the. I said, you know what? It's very simple. Just put a double-ended snap on those hobbles, and I think everything will be perfect. Do you agree? So Scotty's like, yeah, I'd say at least 2 or 3 holes. He said they were really tight, Anthony. I said, well, it sucks for last night. But I also think it's good in the long run because he's obviously sounder, stretching out a little bit. His hobbles are way longer now than they were last year, or were every week I went with him in the schooler, in the qualifier, at the Meadows in his first start. We were letting the hobbles out. Now they're out even further again. And now we're about to let them out a good 3 inches. And does that mean he goes out and he looks better next week? I don't know. I have no idea. He certainly looks like he's fine trotting, so I'm not really worried about him making a break. But he's not going out and trotting in 51. But he doesn't have to. Scotty's horse, he said he had another horse that looked good last week. So Mark is going to drive the horse in the final. Again, he's going to have to trot in 52 and a piece to be relevant in the final of the New Jersey Sires. Now, here's the $1 million question. Can he trot more if we let the hobbles out? Is he going to go faster because he's clearly not as tired? One would think, and one would hope. So that is my take on Pickpocket. He is starting his year not the way we wanted to. You know, everybody's different. Memory and Imagination, 2 wins, 2 seconds, has looked amazing. And now your Pickpocket, not quite as amazing just yet. But as I said to Scotty, I said to Tim, I said to Megan, all of my partners, everybody in the stable, let me be clear about one thing. Pickpocket was a $47,000 yearling that's made close to $170,000. He is a good horse. And if by chance it is proven he is not a very, very good horse, that's okay. We can find lots of spots for Pickpocket. He's a good trotter that's going to do good. We just have to manage him. So if the New Jersey sires don't end up the way we want, maybe we give him a tiny break, a week off, prep him once more at the Meadows and send him to Kentucky. Skip the good times. Or if he goes out and races great next week and he's a fringe player, because, I mean, Carl right now is the best horse in the universe. Right? Horse is dominant. 26-4 a couple of weeks in a row, wrapped up, 52. You're not beating Carl unless Carl beats himself. But it is horse racing, and it has happened before. So my take on the entire situation is let it play out. Race the horse next week. Let his hobbles out, that length of the double-ended snap. Put him in to go, race the horse, hope for some luck, and then reevaluate after. Do we go to Canada or do we not? It's an easy answer. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So yesterday, again for yesterday and for this week, you know, I'm really eager to do my opening because a lot to talk about. We had a fantastic week at the track. Widespread Panic kind of come out of nowhere, right? Very, very happy to see him and Mounds for all doing well. Hopefully Mel Gibbs can fly. I know you drew the 8-hole, but hey, Widespread Panic just won into the 8-hole, so relax. Arson was tremendous. Time Is on My Side was pretty good. When you break the whole race down, pretty good mile from Time Is on My Side. A horse that absolutely does not do his best work on the front end. Mark knows that. The only question mark leading into Philadelphia is the track surface. Do we leave those shoes on him or do we change them? He was pacing good. He was safe. He was comfortable. He just got out-sprinted by 3 horses that are good horses. 2 for sure that are legit killers. I don't know much about Gary's horse that finished 3rd, but seems like a nice horse to me also. And as far as the rest of the week, we have the sale on Monday. It goes without saying, did not know it was going to sell if somebody bids on him. Vaquero Blue Chip has a bid right now. There's no protection on these horses. Vaquero Blue Chip has a bid right now. He'll be leaving. Winter Bells has bids right now. She will be leaving. The only question mark is anybody going to bid on Did Not Know? And is anybody going to bid on Paycheck Princess? A little surprising. I think Paycheck Princess and Winter Bells are almost cookie cutter types. They are almost identical. 2 different jurisdictions, 2 different sires, absolutely not related, and absolutely almost twins. So I believe Paycheck Princess would win a non-winners of 2, a non-winners of 2 claimer right up to the non-winners of 4. I think she'd do it good at Northfield Park if we brought her back here. And if nobody's going to bid on her, then I guess we're going to be forced to. But we'll see how that plays out. As of right now, there are 2 horses leaving on Monday, 100% for sure, because they have bids right now. Whether the other 2 do, that's beyond me and out of my control. So that is what went on yesterday. That is what is going on right now. A long Sunday video for you. Quick little recap. Yo Mister, winner on Monday. Flash Fly, winner on Wednesday. No Free Lunch was a great 4th. Mel Gibbs was 2nd. Memory and Imagination was a tremendous 2nd in the Bunker Hill. Really Don't Care, a great 2nd at Mohawk. Irresistible Sun, a great 2nd at Scioto, and a winner from Gypsy Hill. We won the Open with Spitfire Overseas on Friday, and he was amazing. Don't Talk About Bruno raced great, and then Saturday, what a great day we had on Saturday. Widespread Panic winner, Arson winner. Time Is on My Side, a very good 4th. I'm Fancy Like, didn't talk much about her. She raced great, a winner, and as I said, Pickpocket an okay 5th. So we had a great week. Hopefully we can keep it going next week. I will talk to all of you very, very soon. Take care.